Hey everyone! So this segment is probably going to be something I will focus and work on in 2020, which is for me to showcase all of the things I made during a month. So everything that you see here was made probably towards the end of November through December, and today is the 15th. So these are the items that I've worked on, and we'll see if it's a monthly thing or if I am very productive, like a week or 2 weeks, I might film depending on how, depending on what I have to show. So without further ado, let's get started. So one of the things that I made this month was this outfit for my Blythe doll, Ava. And this Lyrics knit was a total nightmare to work with. It's a Lyrics terry knit, and it was not fun because number one, it is not, I don't know, I don't want to say it's not the best quality, but it was just a very tricky fabric to work with because if you can see the insides, it's just a very loose weave on the back, and then you have the front that's, sparkly, which is fine, but it's hard, especially as you're trimming extra threads and stuff. It was just not my favorite to work with, but I do like the overall like slouchy effect it gives the clothing item. And this is just a crop top, but I think I might make maybe like a bandeau or something underneath it so it can be worn a variety of ways. So I really like this, and this one I just secured with Velcro on the back. And then I, finished all the seams and the edges and everything. So this one actually took quite a bit to make, even though it doesn't look like it. And it required a lot, and I mean a lot of like medical / tracing paper in order to stabilize the knit because I don't have a walking foot, which I actually bought today. So hopefully that'll make my life a little bit easier, when I sew knits in the future. But there's one that I made, and I actually have it nearby. But I spent so much time like sewing it, and you can see the insides, what I was talking about. It's just very loose on this side, but as you can see, the bottom got really stretched, as did the collar. So I don't know, it's just not something that I would feel comfortable sending out. And before I get ahead of myself, I ended up making this entire outfit, which is, I guess this is a little simple outfit, crop top and these leggings as gifts. So before I blather on about that, you can see that this material, which actually wasn't as hard as I thought it would be to work with. I know knits can be a nightmare and anything that's stretchy, but this actually sewed up really, really nicely, and I was really happy with the quality of garment that I got from it. So you can see. And then you can see some of the medical paper I didn't pick out there, but this is for me, so it's okay. But I made this outfit for my friends Britt and Karen as part of their holiday gifts, just because of all the support they've given me, this past year. And for me, I'm forever grateful, and I'll probably reference this many times, for their friendship during a really difficult part of my life. And I was still very new to the doll hobby, so there's always that sentimental feeling within me that I'm exceedingly grateful for all the doll friends I've made in this hobby. So if I could do a little small token of appreciation, I will definitely do that. And yeah, so these shoes I actually got off of AliExpress, and I like how they're just like flat Mary Jane styles, but they should be pretty versatile. And then I also made this little hairband, so it's pretty easy to make. Cut it on the grain, and then afterwards I've ladder stitched it in between after sewing around the edges and turning it. But I figured this can be worn as like, I guess, a scarf shawl. Oops, I keep hitting this thing, so please forgive me for that. Scarf shawl thing. Or it can be worn as a hairband. And that was the original intention of it. So I might look into making a turban pattern for next year, but this was just a really simple, just cut, sew, and measure. So something like this. It's probably gonna look a little messy, but something like that. There we go. And then I also made this leopard coat, leopard pattern, and this fabric was a total nightmare to work with. And I don't think that I did a really good job with the nap direction here, but I did try to see how, you know, the direction of the fur, but by the time I sewed it together on this piece, it just seemed like it was just such a loose weave for the fur to be caught, and everything was getting caught in the seams, and I had to pick it out, and it just became a total nightmare. So not the funnest thing to sew, not overly difficult, but it's just irritating. It's very irritating. And then I actually lined it, and you can see that I still have some pen marks, so this still needs to be washed. I lined it in a duochrome silk, and I think the camera probably can capture that. It's like a copper color, but in the light it has hints of purple. So it's a faux fur and silk jacket. And I always think about sewing a closure, but I kind of like how it has like the punk slash rock look. Probably rock, but she can wear it like this if she wanted to. That, so something like that, like an outfit like that. And then I actually made a bunch of wigs, and this one is my latest one, and this was made for my two-faced girl, my Doll Leaves Mei. And when I'm working on it, of course I added braids into it, but I also brushed out the excess, so it's still not fully finished, but we're definitely getting there, and I want to show it in the video so you can see my doll here. And because she's a two-faced girl, the head cap is a little bit different, and I gotta be careful because I don't want her face to get like all chipped. So as you can see, like, there's some dust here, but it is what it is. I want it, it's a little bit shallow and it's a little bit oblong due to the shape of her head, but I wanted you to be able to see both parts of her face when she had it worn on top, but it's not perfect, but it's good enough, right? So it looks like this in the front or back, and one side actually has like some, it'd be like hime cut bangs, so however like whatever direction you want to use, it should be relatively reversible, although you might see a little bit of the glue, but I'm not perfect yet, so it's okay. And then you can see this part, so this is what it looks like on one side, and on the other side you might need a lift or bring it up, but at least, you know, it's visible from both sides. And this is actually a Surrey alpaca, and I bought the raw fiber and I laundered it and hand washed and combed it and everything underneath the sun. So it's very silky, and then I'll probably need to condition it, do a conditioning rinse so we can get less flyaways. So yeah, so that's almost done. And then I also made this wig, this white one, and I thought about filling out some of the gaps here, but I think it can just be brushed to hide because I already have probably about over an ounce of fiber on this wig, so it's pretty thick and luxurious, and I think it can be, it's hard because like you don't want it to be too floofy, but then at the same time you don't want it to be too threadbare. So yeah, so this wig is mostly done, but I made it for my DIM Bellosse head, and here she is. Let me see if I can get this on her. I just need to do some finishing on the wig, and then we're good to go. And this body, it's very interesting because her head spins a lot around it, and I think it's almost slightly too small proportionally, but it was a good purchase and it works, so that's what we have. So let me see, let me pull the hair out of the front. So there we go. And then with like styling, you can see that it's like a white wig, and then has the prettiest white fiber. So I adore her. Oops. And then I need to put sticky tack to keep it down. So we have this. And then, let me see. Lastly, I'm currently working on, so I guess this isn't exactly everything that I made, but stuff that I made / work in progress. So maybe next month I'll show it finished. This is actually a Momolita pattern, and really not happy with the price point and the fact that it doesn't have a materials list and the directions really aren't complete. So I've been figuring it out, but for something that's like $15 for a pattern, I kind of expect it to be complete, but it's not, so you work with what you can. And I made a lot of changes to how the garment came together due to like the directions, which I thought could have been a lot better actually, but you can see that the Pintex, and I don't have a Pintex foot, so I had to redraw the pattern, expand it so that I can actually hand press the pleats. But it's looking pretty good, and this is going to be for my Black Ribbon Blythe's Vampire Girl. and she doesn't really have appropriate clothes to wear, so I wanted to finally make her like a this is a cotton lawn, quote unquote, dress, but it's made out of muslin and some, I guess, vintage trims that I had lying around. And then this is the skirt. So this is the fail part. I should also not sew at night because I make a lot of mistakes, but I was like, yeah, I'm getting there. I want to press on, and that was not a good idea. So over here, I'm really not happy with the quality. I had to undo some of this because this top stitching was not up to the quality that I liked, but I'm relatively happy with it. So we'll see if I have the strength to actually undo all the picking here. But you can tell it really bothers me, this part, that while I had it like initially sewn on, it got undone. So then, I don't know, it just bothers me because everything else is sewn and then top stitched, but you can tell that this was kind of like not really sewn, but it was top stitched over and it's loose, and it really bothers me. So we'll see how much strength I have to like unpick all of that, because I don't want the top stitch to look like interrupted. But I went over it a couple times, but it's just not looking good, and I probably should have stopped, but you know, mistakes. And then it'll be attached to this, and also in the closures, and then we'll be done. But thankfully it's just Velcro, so I'm looking forward to that. And then this dress was something that I was really looking forward to, but everything was just going horribly wrong when I tried to sew it together. I like the darting, I like the fit of the dress, but the moment that, I don't know, I chose to use like a crepe de chine on it, and I was pressing out some of the darts, and then after I sewed the sleeves on, my iron went over it and it melted it. So I was like, that's really annoying, and I wasn't really happy with that. Then afterwards, when I was setting the sleeves, I set them in by basting as usual, but then I had some problems where I just couldn't get them to the sleeve to like curve properly. And then I ended up like getting part of this part like into the sleeve, so it almost looks like it's like a princess seam when it's really not, and that bothers me a lot. So it was a good learning experience, and I think I should have probably just made this immediately versus just like cutting out the pieces and then waiting like months to finally put it together. And then this part, I don't like how I sewed the collar on. The directions that I used was from one of the Japanese craft books, but it didn't have it lined, but I didn't like the collar being exposed, so I ended up using some cotton gauze on the inside. But then afterwards, like, I didn't like how there was so much space in between the collar, and I thought about maybe adding like a ribbon or something, some kind of decoration there. But then with, you know, these flaws and everything, and then, you know, the iron melting the fabric, I just wasn't really happy with it. So this is just going to be a test garment, and I'll probably end up resewing it when I have the energy and spirit to do it again. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've worked on lately. If you have any projects that you work on as well, I'd love to see. Feel free to please tag me, reach out to me on Instagram. For me, I want to really try to go in the direction of being more of a creator than like a consumer. And being a consumer is not bad by any means, but sometimes I feel like I get lazy, and hopefully this will hold me a little bit more accountable. So yeah, there we have it. Alrighty, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.